Hello, Gemini. Welcome to the Plaid Sheep Oracle. Your reading begins with this kind of Venus coming out of the sea outer core card. Have you perhaps been feeling maybe unlike yourself, more cautious than usual? The card in the visible underlying is the Cave card, which says protection. So there's this sense that you've had, and actually with the card below it, this Ice card, and then below that is this Desert Solitariness card. Have you been kind of hunkering down, hermiting, doing your best to stay out of things, to be still, be silent, be unmoving, not take chances? The bottom of the deck is South Adventure. So if you have been in this hermiting, protective cave mode, you must have been feeling this urge to adventure. And it's not surprising, there's been a stellium in your sign. There was a stellium. Jupiter is still in there. So that, right, that energy of expansion, of wanting to move, has been under there. But something has been keeping you in the cave. And it might be with this Seven of Cups coming out here. And then also with this Queen of Pentacles, who is, right, it's like she's turned suddenly because she thought that somebody might be behind her today. And then we get the Page of Swords, very cautious energy, and then actually below that, the Seven of Wands. And sevens are a presence here. We've got the Seven of Cups, this is the Seven of Wands. We're going to meet the Seven of Pentacles a little bit later in this row. And the sevens come after the sixes. So regardless of the sort of exact nuance of sevens, as opposed to fives or nines, they are, like all of the odd numbers, they're disruptive. If you're in the balance of the six, then the seven is disruptive. And maybe you felt at some point that you'd kind of really gotten things going in order. Maybe things were really humming along for you. And then something appeared to upset things. The bottom of the deck is that balanced energy. And maybe you were really enjoying it. Gemini energy is seen as very fast-moving and, wanting lots of different things or lots of different experiences. But of course, we aren't solely one energy. And maybe you were really enjoying a kind of stable, balanced feeling that you were having. And it could be that you were having this balanced feeling because you were kind of hermiting. It's much easier to keep things stable and harmonious if you're mostly alone. Or if your contact with people is very brief. But next to this card, the next one up, is the Ace of Cups. And here, breaking out. It's like breaking out of the skull, breaking out of the mind. Now, a card that sort of wanted to be included, but not actually within the row, but got stuck to this Seven of Pentacles card, is the Knight of Swords. And that's you. That's Knight of Swords is your court card. So your fundamental energy, this outer core fluidity energy, is, right, it's there, it's underneath. But it's not front and center. So then we have both the Two of Swords and the Two of Wands. Oh, what am I doing? I'm like skipping totally ahead. What is that about? I just wanted to move on to that. I don't know why. Maybe you just want me to move on? You don't really want to talk about what's here? Gemini? Because we have this, you know, this Eight of Wands feels like just 10 more minutes. Don't wake me up. I'm perfectly happy asleep. Go away. And then the Four of Pentacles. Stability, solidity, not going anywhere. Holding on to what I've got. And then the Seven of Pentacles. For the first time, kind of just doing the thing. I mean, you're carrying this giant key. But it seems like maybe that is an unnecessary thing. I feel that the key is unnecessary in some way. That you're just hauling it around with you. And then there's the Page of Wands. But she kind of looks bored today. And her wand is still sort of attached to the rest of this structure. And there's this, you know, heavy bull presence leaning over her, kind of, it feels Four of Pentacles. A Waite, a monitor, someone monitoring what she does, your inner governor. So there's all this stay put. Don't wake me up. I'm plodding along. I'm fine. Nothing to see here energy. Except that then this, right? This card trying to come through. So now we go to the Two of Swords and the Two of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles and the Hanged Man, for goodness sake. And then at the bottom of the deck, the Four of Pentacles again. And then I think the next card under it, right, is the Seven of Swords. It's next to this, so that's another 7. Although this time disrupting the mind. So kind of wanting to disrupt this energy, but it's not really coming through. It's buried. And below all of this, below the Hanged Man and the Seven of Pentacles and the Two of Wands and this Two of Swords, this kind of endless choice, endless sitting in the choice, is the Ace of Wands. And then actually the Seven of Cups again. Seeing things not as, right, coming back to seeing things as choices rather than as irritations or as threats. But there's all of this stuck in a decision kind of energy. this waiting. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles. Stopped with his pentacle. And then we have the Hierophant. And often, when I get this sort of combination of someone making an offer and the Hierophant next to it, I have this sense of the Hierophant saying, nope, we're not accepting offers at this time. Please call again later. But again, kind of beyond that, beyond all of this stopping energy, we have the Magician. He is associated with Mercury, and so very much with your sign, Gemini. So he's under there. This is more of your fundamental energy. And then we have this, again, cautious Page of Swords. So there's actually something, Gemini, about your own nature. Maybe this is some sort of overcorrection. If you've been on the channel for a while, you may have heard some of the earlier Gemini readings where what was coming through is that you needed to learn to commit, to make choices, to choose something to move forward in. And maybe you took that too far. Maybe you chose essentially to just stay put. And I can understand that, Gemini, because the world certainly seems crazy. There is so much movement and apparent chaos that it might seem like the only way to survive it would be to hunker down in your cave and not make a move until things settle down. But that isn't really what those readings were talking about. Right? They were talking about committing to a plan, a project, a creative endeavor, maybe to a relationship. And this is tipping too far, perhaps in the other direction. Or it may be that this is a symptom of not committing as well. Because that's another way of, if you're in the cave, if you're hermiting, you're also not committing to something new. You're not committing to a project or a new creative path or a new way of doing something. You're just standing still. Because you feel perhaps that it's safer. And I totally get that. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart. The idea of stillness and security and just, putting your butt down somewhere and sticking is very familiar to me. But I also have Sun in Aries. So I also understand this energy of the Knight of Swords, of the Knights. This is the Knight of Pentacles, and so he tends to be slow. He's pictured here as actually kind of being at a standstill. But he is still a knight. Movement is part of his mission. And the knights, we're going to get to more of them. They definitely figure into this prominently. And the knight energy is linked traditionally with the mutable signs. So with Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Virgo. The signs that are more accepting, more enthusiastic about movement. Then we have the Raven. Magic, coincidence, synchronistic events. Right. And also below that, the Water Fairy. Feelings and emotions. So, our feelings, our emotions are our guidance system. How does something feel? And we don't do it, we combine feelings and thoughts. We don't want to just react to our emotions. But we want to have a look at them. We want to really feel our feelings and then consider what is that saying to me about this course of action? If I think about staying in this protective cave, what happens in my body? And it could be that part of your body expands because it feels safe, but then another part of your body contracts because it feels stagnant. So coming into relationship with this guidance system. And the bottom of the deck is perception. And perception in two different meanings. One, simply to perceive, to see, to accept information, right? To perceive the path. But the other sort of definition of perception is how you perceive it. Do you perceive something as exciting or as dangerous? As rigid or as safe? What is your perception of the world? Is your perception shaped by your media consumption or the people around you and what they have to say about things? Is it shaped by things in your past? I had some readings lately, both from other people and personally, that included the Five of Cups. And at first it was looking like a prediction, and I couldn't see where that Five of Cups, where disappointment might be coming from. But then I realized it's not a prediction, it's an instruction, which is to walk away from the past completely. That's something that I've been in process about, but now there's a real emphasis on that. And the Five of Cups is about perception. Do you see the 3 spilled cups or the 2 that remain upright? Also, in the case of the Rider-Waite Smith deck, there's a river. So maybe it doesn't matter even if all the cups are spilled, because there's this whole river. If you just if that character who's got head down, if they just look up and see the river, just refill the cups. So what is the perception? And then we have these 3 cards of transformation. We have birth, rebirth, the Serpent with knowledge, healing, and of course shedding the skin, and then letting go. So if you've if you're attached in some way to something, if you break this key, whatever this key is that you're carrying around everywhere, maybe it's the past in terms of memories or events or things that happened to you, or maybe it's the past in terms of what you learned as a child, your belief systems, and now you're hauling them around with you everywhere. Or whether it's, like it's the key, right? The key that's going to solve all my problems. If I just stay protected, that's the key. Whatever that key is, that needs to be released. Because then we have this muse of inspiration. Right here, ready to cross through the fire. And this figure looks, they are taking a step forward, but they're sort of leaning back on the back foot. So taking that step forward. And right below that is this Six of Voices. And this is my wider self guidance card. Right? That's you, your human self, and then there's your soul that holds you at all times and guides you and is carrying you across this divide, carrying across, what appears to be sharp and dangerous. Right? Carrying you through this space, which may look a little bit alarming at first. The bottom of the deck is the Ace of Emotions. The Ace of Cups. Right? This coming up for breath. Coming out of whatever you've been submerged in. It might be that you have been submerged in difficult emotions, in those memories. Maybe there's been a healing process that you needed to go through. And this is now a message saying, you're good. It might not be perfect. There might still be, little tiny things that might, be contrasty or niggling. But you're good. It's time to move. So then we get the Queen of Wands. Dreaming. Creative inspiration. Feeling the sun on her face. And then the Muse of Voices. And this is feeling actually very Gemini today with those two sides. This is a card of air. It sits in the king slot, but it is different. Right? The muse is not the king. The muse is the muse, the inspiration, the genius. And these two dancers are you and your ability to accept that inspiration. And then we get another knight, the Knight of Emotions, Knight of Cups. Excited about new connection, excited about, perhaps new emotional events, or you're just feeling different stuff. Because when you're here in the cave, you could get to a point where you're just feeling the same thing every day, all day. And this knight is excited about having some different emotional experiences. And then the Emperor. There's a lot of Aries, fiery energy coming out here. Joining the dance. This always looks like music to me, musical. Like sheet music. So joining in the dance. Right? She's a flamenco dancer. And flamenco is very much a relationship dance. And even if there's only a single flamenco dancer, he or she doesn't have to have a partner. They can dance solo. And then their primary relationship is with the musician, with the guitarist. So coming out also into relationships, into really dynamic give and take kinds of relationships. So, advice. Knight of Wands. Knight number 3. Actually, knight number 4, if we include you as the Knight of Swords, just having peeked out there. And below him is the Queen of Wands. And this feels very much like rejoining the world. Going and meeting somebody. And then below that is the Three of Wands, which is a collaborative sort of energy. Right, the Two of Wands is the decision, the thinking about it, the initial idea, and then the Three of Wands is doing it, often in collaboration with others. And this is confirmed because at the bottom is the Lovers. There you are. This is your card. Choosing from love, bringing things together, bringing people together, coming together with other people. You know, this might possibly be about a relationship. Maybe you've been hiding, and I'm going to use that word, hiding, from a relationship that seemed too serious, too intense, maybe it was something you'd never experienced before and it scared the bejesus out of you. And so you went into hermit mode. And maybe you want to reconsider. Of course, as always, there is no should. You make your own choices. But it could be really great. And we do have the Knight of Cups repeating here. And often when I put these cards out, the stack doesn't really seem to care where I put it. I usually sort of put it in the center. But today the stack wanted to be here so that the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups were right in this line. So there's something maybe this is an alternative person for someone, or this is you, so that, are you rushing towards the Queen of Wands or the Knight of Cups? Or maybe this Queen of Wands is also you. Maybe you have to become the Queen of Wands and then you can meet the Knight of Cups. Or if it's not a romantic, if it's not a romantic, or even if it is a romantic relationship, it might be 3 people. If it's not, it could be a business arrangement or just a really good friendship. But the Knight of Cups is receptive here. He is receiving this fire energy. And maybe you've been, have you been missing the fire? Mercury is going to enter Leo very shortly, if he's not already there. I don't think he's there yet, but it's not going to be long. He's going to enter Leo. And then when he gets to Virgo, he's going to go a little bit into Virgo and then he's going to turn around. He's going to have his retrograde period in August, I believe. So there's this fire that Mercury is going to pass through. And I think that you want to come out of your cave in advance of that, so that you can really take advantage of Mercury's movement through that sunny, creative, wonder-loving Leo energy. And then the next thing is the Four of Pentacles. So, you know, maybe you have a certain amount of stuff, or just, right, this money could just represent this safety, this, right, this protection of the cave. I mean, there's almost, right, she's got her arms crossed across her chest, and this figure has his hands sort of crossed, and they're both kind of looking down. So is this really satisfying, Gemini? And lastly, not surprised to see it, the Ace of Cups. Drink deep, Gemini. Drink deep. Drink deep of life. Drink deep of that river. Even though the Five of Cups didn't come out here. Really, really savor experiences. You know, this feels less like the inner grail today and more like experiences, you know, as if you went to a party where you got to taste all kinds of different things, where there were, you know, a dozen different wines or cocktails or elixirs and all different kinds of food, and you could just walk around and pick up anything that you wanted. To savor that, to come back to yourself if you've lost some of that desire for that Gemini love of many things. So allowing yourself to reemerge, to be reborn. I hope this is helpful. I hope you're feeling like that this is a confirmation that you were already ready to go. Maybe you had your hand on the doorknob and just needed a little bit extra to send you back out. I wish you the very best, Gemini, and I'll see you next time. So long.